So, I bought a car on Copart. Isn't that great? Well, so all these other shows, typically, somebody buys a car for $400 and they go home and they put a battery in it and they change the oil and everything runs great and everything's perfect and they get a steal. So, I bought one here and we're going to go through the whole thing and maybe we win on it, maybe we lose on it, but
we're going to show you what happens
correctly. Yeah, and we're gonna show you good or bad, or good and bad. So when I decided to bid on this car, there was a few things that I looked at. The pictures of it were really good. Like the paint looks really good for a 28-year-old car. There's all sorts of stuff on it, but it's shiny. It looks like somebody garaged it for a pretty long time. And the first owner, I did Carfax it, had it for a pretty long time. It has 110,000 miles on it, which is really low for a 28-year-old car. And then somebody spent some money, even though I don't really like those wheels, somebody spent some money on those wheels because I looked those up and those are about $800 a piece. I may change those out, but they're kind of ugly, but they're worth something.
The interior of this car is one of the best parts of it, though.
Welcome to my son Joey. So the interior of the car looks really, really good from all the pictures. That's another reason I bought the car. Somebody had put some money into it and got some custom seats. And I looked those seats up and those are about $800 a piece too. And the interior is in pretty good condition. I mean, the car's really dirty. It needs a good cleaning. The steering wheel's a little faded, but the dash looks amazing. The dash looks almost brand new. And the interior looks really good too. It needs to have the seats taken out and vacuumed and the carpet cleaned and all that stuff. But one of the things I've noticed on these Copart videos, especially with flooded cars, which I did see there was a history of this fairly recently, flooded, is to check the oil and transmission fluid to see if there's any issues with water in the oil. So you'll get sort of chocolate milk looking oil and strawberry milk looking transmission fluid if there's been water in it. Now, one thing that I do know is that this car runs and drives, not only because Copart said so, but the guy who took it off the truck, he drove it off and parked it here. So I would much have preferred not that he didn't do that, but that's okay. I would have rather checked the oil and the transmission fluid first. So before we do anything to start it, Joey's gonna check those things. Even though we know it starts and drives, I just want to do that ahead of time. And
the shocks need replaced, but they kind of work.
The shocks, okay. And you can tell that this car is extremely dusty, sitting in a
Really
Copart dusty lot that they probably had the hood open some. So you know, no big deal. Just needs good cleaning. So while he does that, I'll just walk around the car and look. So you can tell that little piece right there, I'm not sure what that is. I owned a 91, but I've never owned one of these body styles. So I don't know exactly what that piece is, but it looks like there's been a little damage to that. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened at the Copart auction.
Oil looks good. It's just dirty. Brown. It doesn't even look that dirty.
Yeah, it looks okay, actually.
I'm going to dip it again, but...
That's good news. That's good news. How do you open the trunk? Oh, there's the key.
Boy, that's heavy.
Okay. Nothing really in the trunk to look at. Yeah, Joey, this is an automatic. The convertible top looks like it's in pretty good shape.
I hope it goes down.
And I'll open this up. This looks really good too. Somebody put one of these little weird steering wheel covers on it to cover up the wear on the steering wheel. That's really about all that's worn on this car as far as the interior, although I did hear that the convertible top, and that's no big deal, it just needs to be painted, just a metal. So this actually looks pretty good. I do know the driver's window rolls up. it was down and they rolled it up for me. So we'll go ahead and come back here when it's time to start it. Oh, one more thing real quick. It looks like we do need to replace the little shocks for the hood because the hood was falling down. Okay, so Joey checked all the fluids. All of them were good. The power steering may be a little bit low, but we are on an incline. The antifreeze was full. There wasn't any water in the oil or transmission, and the fluids actually looked good. So he's going to go ahead and fire it up. Go for it.
All right. Give it a go.
Okay, so that battery sounds a little sick. It sounds a little sick. We'll try to charge it. Listen to how good that thing runs. Wow, that sounds really good. One other thing I didn't mention earlier is this thing has some form of custom exhaust. Look at those exhaust pipes. That is custom. That is not stock one. Because I had a 91 GT and this is the same engine and everything. Those are definitely different.
It needs gas, so which is good. That means any old gas that's in there.
Yeah, those exhausts are something else. That's not stock. Okay, see you when we pull it around back. We're gonna pull it around back. There we are, pulling it around. Thing seems to run. Oh goodness, that is loud. Okay, we'll catch you up later. So we noticed a few things on the car when we started it up and then brought it back here and looked at it. One of them, the battery was pretty weak, so I hooked my battery charger up. We'll see if that thing comes back. The other thing is I decided to check, we rechecked all the fluids, now it's on level ground. We're gonna have a little power steering fluid. I decided to check the air filter because it has this little K&N sticker on it. And I pulled this out and there's no air filter. So it's literally missing an air filter. And it was missing this clamp. So I went to the auto parts store, I picked up an air filter, picked up the clamp. I've got some stuff to do to wash it. I'm not gonna go through the process of waxing it or anything because I'd want a clay bar and you know, do all that stuff. So today's just going to be kind of a simple cleaning. So we'll stop there and come back in a bit. Well, here we are after we've done some things to the Mustang. We cleaned the engine up. We replaced the air filter. Well, actually we didn't replace it. We put one in. It was missing one. We charged the battery. It seemed to hold a charge okay. Completely cleaned this up. This looks amazing. Checked all the fluids. The oil was actually current. We found a sticker on the windshield that said it was changed, or actually I think it was due for service in November, which was just 3 months ago. And the mileage was pretty current on it. So we think has about close to 1,000 miles left before it needs service. However, it's a little difficult to tell because one of the things we found out, we took it for a drive, is that the speedometer doesn't work. So that's one more thing to sort out. So some of the little quirky electrical things that can happen to a car after it's been in some form of a flood or whatever. I'll have to sort some of those out tomorrow, but this thing cleaned up really well. I managed to get the scratches out of the hood. It had a few scratches. I had some real light rubbing compound. They came right out. I haven't cleaned the interior really. Haven't vacuumed it out and done all that sort of stuff. Did find out that the horn doesn't work, so tomorrow I'll be getting under there and messing with fuses. Some other good news, I found out that this weirdness on the steering wheel, I thought it was worn, but it turns out they had a steering wheel cover on it, and maybe it was in the summer and it stuck. I'm not really sure, but that should be able to be cleaned up. The other thing is that this window here, this small window, will not go back up. It's trying, so you can, if you try it, you can hear it go up and down inside, but I think it just can't work its way through right here. It's like stuck. So I should be able to get that back up. I'm not planning on doing a lot of work on it. Although it sounds really good and the check engine light isn't on, I do feel like it's missing a little bit. So maybe those check engine lights on these 94s don't really check for small misfires, and maybe they just check for vacuum leaks and things like that. I really don't know. But my guess is that the plugs probably need to be changed. So it sounds really good. It's not really very fast for a 5-liter Mustang. It's not got a lot of kick, which I think probably has to do with part with the miss and part that it's a pretty heavy convertible. But brakes work really well. Accelerates, okay. No vibration in the steering wheel. We took it out on the highway, got it up to about 70. Cruises really nice. I think this thing's been lowered. You guys can comment on that. It's scraping on the ground, and the exhaust is custom. It's basically glass packs, and it looks like they did a poor job of hanging the exhaust prior to the glass packs, because they're pretty low, and those bolts are hanging on the ground, and I'm pretty sure that's what's scraping when I go up my driveway and a couple other places. So any help with that would be appreciated. More on this car later.